Okay, so as you can see, I am not doing JoJo this week. I wrote it, I filmed it, and then discovered I could no longer get the episode on my hard drive. That's the issue I'm having. A lot of the episodes have been removed from where I was getting them, so I'm a little stuck on what I can review right now. I'm really sorry, guys. Hopefully that'll get resolved, but for now, enjoy Murder at Sea Part 1. Murder at Sea is an early season 2 episodes. It's also the second two-parter of the series. They got really into multi-part episodes later in the series run. This one is basically Starsky and Hutch take a cruise, and then ride around in a dune buggy while Starsky shrieks his head off. Also, Lynn Marta's back. Y'all remember how much I loved her, right? Yay! Alright, let's do this. We start out with Lynn Marta witnessing not Michael Myers killing this sailor guy.
Hold this a second, huh?
Yep. He's dead. Carry on. The dead guy's name was Eric Snow, and they get a general description of Lynn Marta from this weirdo.
Young, blonde, and pretty. How's that? Huh?
What's so funny? They hop aboard and Hutch just gets giddy with excitement. Apparently he loves the sea.
Hutch, you were born in Duluth, Minnesota. It's 1,000 miles from any ocean.
It's 1,500 miles.
How'd you become a Sea Scout?
It wasn't easy.
He would be from Minnesota. It all makes sense now. Out of nowhere they get attacked, and I really love that this is all done in one shot. Look at this sissy fighting. It turns out to be a pointless misunderstanding, but it was still fun.
Look, Oxy, is there anybody around here we can get some real information from? Some background on Eric Snow?
With all that's gone down so far, I think you guys better talk to the Commodore himself.
The Commodore?
Commodore.
Yeah, Commodore.
The Commodore? The Commodore? The Commodore? The Commodore. The Commodore wasn't a fan of Mr. Snow, so maybe he did it. Maybe the wheelchair is just a clever disguise.
Commodore, there was a witness who saw a young woman leaving the scene of Mr. Snow's murder. She was in her mid-20s, blonde. Does that ring a bell?
Well, that does narrow it down to about 80% of Bay City's population. The Commodore does lead them to Eric's former girlfriend, October, who happens to live with Lynn Marta's character, who's named Helen. Coincidence? I think not.
Hey, listen, it's about that traffic ticket. I'm not guilty.
And if it's about those bodies in the trunk, they were there when I bought the car.
We understand you and Eric were quite close.
We understand you were fornicating with him, you filthy little slut.
But there was a woman matching your general description who left the scene of the crime last night.
Her general description? A lot of girls fit that. I fit that description.
You sure do.
But if it's that important, I was here last night. I watched some TV and read and went to bed.
Alone?
That's none of your business. Alone.
I'm no whore like October over there. And now they get on the cruise. No? Not yet? Okay. Huggy's a magician this week. You know, I wish I could afford to indulge every whim that I had like he does. So Eric's a small-time coke dealer who couldn't keep his mouth shut about scoring really big on his next voyage to Mexico.
Let's get out of here.
It's all in muscle control and timing.
Of course they just leave him like that. It's always awkward when you're third wheel Huggy. October bounced back pretty quickly from Eric's death, but sadly she was Michael Myers' sister the whole time, so we had to kill her. How Helen heard none of this is beyond me.
Apparently whoever killed October was looking for something.
How do you figure that? He came in, he stabbed her, he left. How does that amount to looking for something? And now they get on the go back to the station. Come on already! Huggy tells them that a big crime boss named Patsy Cairo is meant to be taking the upcoming cruise. Patsy's a girl's name.
I'm thinking of starting a hand-painted collection of pottery.
Pottery. I don't get it. Finally, we are on the cruise, and they're entertainment directors. Not quite sure why they couldn't just go as passengers, but whatever. This is more fun. This is so ridiculous, and oh my god, that's Ed Begley Jr. How do you like that? Aside And we have Norman Bates joining us on this trip.
I'm Hubert Stuffy, and this is my mother. Oh, don't be despondent. It was her last request when she died last week that we make this cruise. It's her 35th. And when we pass Ensenada, she becomes Admiral of the Fleet. Oh, we're gonna have a grand time.
So, good?
Grand.
And here comes Cairo and his crew.
If I'm not mistaken, that is Mr. and Mrs. Clark, otherwise known as Patsy Cairo, and his faithful bodyguard, Nicky, and that hooker, Lily.
Now, don't say hooker with such disdain, Hutch. You've dated 2 hookers.
Kinda makes you feel good, doesn't it?
Handsome devils. Oh, I'm Edna Zelinka from Akron, Ohio. I'm traveling with my beautiful single daughter. Bertha, where are you? What happened?
I broke my heel.
Bertha, you will never find love. But Kitty will.
Let go of her. I have warned you about fooling around with these girls.
Hey, you do not want to mess with Ed Begley Jr.'s girl. I wish this was a crossover with the Love Boat. That'd be great.
I'm First Officer Stafford.
How do you do, Stafford?
Mr. Stafford. You will address me as Mr. Stafford or Sir. The captain has made you my responsibility. I should warn you now, I will not tolerate any boisterousness, drunkenness, lechery, or any activity that might upset the passengers or the smooth operation of this ship.
All of the above.
Aye, aye, sir.
Oh, stuffy First Officer Stafford, you will learn to love them. I like this little bit here where Hutch tries to teach Starsky how nautical time works because he actually doesn't come off as condescending for a change, and it's nice.
Zulu time?
That's the official Navy time. And if you're on that, of course, it's a whole different bell game.
Sounds confusing to me. I'll have no more of it. So Helen is on the cruise too. She's clearly involved to some extent, but just wants them to stay out of her way and she'll stay out of theirs. I'm sure.
Kitty?
Oh, hello again.
We keep cutting back to this silly little subplot about Kitty running off on Ed Begley, and I don't get why. It's not particularly funny, and it has jack to do with the guys and the main story. Anywho, they meet with the captain, who does not want them there at all.
There's a young lady on board by the name of Nellie Brown. She's using that name, Nellie Brown. Her real name is Helen Carnahan.
And they immediately sell on Helen. Nellie. Nellen? Nellen.
I told you not to patronize me.
It's like pouty Hitler.
What's the matter?
You know, all my life I've dreamed of living at sea. What it would be like to be a captain. And I look at these 2 men, the captain and the Commodore. And I see how the sea has left them. Bitter, disillusioned.
Nothing like I'll ever be at all. Their cover is blown already. We are not even through part 1 yet. For crying out loud, boys, get it together.
He says, put your left hand up. I didn't say Simon says, I said he says. Oh, Mr. And we're out. Here we go now. You ready? Simon says.
Starsky, do you really need to try this hard?
Would you excuse us? We have a couple of things we'd like to go over.
So do I.
Yeah, I know.
I was talking to her.
Yeah.
What did you go and do that for?
Because you're mine! They send the passengers on a scavenger hunt so they can sneak around. Kitty's working her way through every man on the ship, more power to her. Edna, Bertha's mother, is a low-life thief, and Hutch quickly fails at sneaking. I'm glad that whole thing wasn't just padding. Now, I believe this is the scene that has Elizabeth Glaser as an extra in it. And I think that's her? Next to the Japanese guy? Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not 100%. Starsky's on stage making terrible jokes that are giving me flashbacks to Shootout, and I needed to stop immediately.
Take it away, boys.
Thank you. Did you just pinch him on the ass? We get a return of one of my favorite things about Hutch. He's terrible when he has to perform for a crowd. He gets nervous and clumsy, and it's absolutely precious. The second officer kills pouty Captain Hitler, and Hart's on the other side. I'm not saying it still wouldn't have been fatal, but still. Starsky goes to try and lure
That hooker, Lily.
out, but she's not home. He listens in on the bad guys talking about taking care of someone, and then he gets jumped from behind. Is this where we're gonna leave off on our cliffhanger? Nope, he's fine. Why'd they jump him anyway if they were just gonna leave him there? That was pointless.
You sure you're all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. How about you? You gonna be okay, Stafford?
Never felt better.
Oh, I'm starting to ship Starsky and Stafford a little bit. Maybe this is the Love Boat. The guys discover the captain dead, and that's our cliffhanger. I guess, even though we already knew he was dead. And that was Murder at Sea Part 1. It's a very fun episode once they actually get on the ship. Before that, it's pretty standard stuff. The collection of characters on board are not exactly laugh-out-loud funny, but they're charming in their own way. Lynn Marta is leaps and bounds better here than she was in The Bait. Season 2 is probably my favorite season overall. Probably. It's got the highest highs, but it also has some of the lowest lows. Probably not as low as Season 4, but to me, personally, Season 2 has some things in it that really ruffle my feathers, shall we say. But that's for another time. This has been Fandom on Demand, bringing you fandom when you demand it.